Do you remember, like you still to this day had one of my favorite goddamn comedy jam performances I think we've ever had when we were at JFL that year, and we were doing 6 nights of it. And you were on the Wednesday night, and Monday was packed, Tuesday was packed, but on Wednesday we were up against like New Faces, and Chappelle was doing this thing and that thing was going on. And we walked in, and I remember it was you, Joe DeRosa, and I forget who the third was, but everybody was doing great songs. And then me and the band looked at each other. We looked at the size of the audience, and we were like, "Nah, man, we're giving them 200%. We're gonna work even harder tonight to entertain these Canadian motherfuckers." So we give everything, and then I mean, there might have been
Didn't I do Dead or Alive by
no,
Run
no, no,
DMC?
no. Oh, no, no, no. You
What
went
did I do?
everywhere I go,
Oh
just
yeah,
the
that's the gigolo.
gigolo. Be
Yeah,
but
that's
the
my go-to.
dude,
That's
when
my
you
go-to.
sweetheart, when you did the best part, I still it's like top 5 moments in goddamn comedy jam history when it's like building up and then it's doing the big breakdown at the end and you be like we drop out and we go "Homalazi bele bomele bomele homale babalazi bele bom."
Yeah,
I think I have video of that. I'll post it this week.
do it,
Yeah,
post that shit.
I mean,
Yes.
I mean, don't you feel like you have so much shit in your phone, pictures and videos, just like for the last like 15 years that you never look at, and you're like, and you go back sometimes, you're like, holy shit, I remember that.
First of all, I just went to the Apple store last week because I couldn't put another fucking picture in my phone. I had so much shit, and I have the maximum. You gone? Okay, baby. Bye. And I have the maximum storage that you can have in the deck. They said I have room in my iCloud, but not on my. Anyway, it got sort of fixed, but I've got, that's what I'm thinking. Like in your phone, it sort of chronicles your life
Oh
year
yeah.
to year to year.
Oh, 100%. Just now, let's bring it to Al real quick because I'm very very curious about it because well, my dog is drinking the loudest amount of water I've ever. Lekka, seriously,
What kind of dog you got?
Doberman Pinscher.
Oh, I used to have a Doberman named Bullet.
Hold on, you can see her. Hold on, come here a second, Lekka. Let's see if I
Let
can
me
get
see,
the.
baby.
Let's see if we can get her down. You see her?
Hi, baby. Hi, honey. Oh,
Wow.
sweet thing.
Fucking love that
I
dog.
did the whole ears and tail thing. We did the whole thing.
I thought about that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I got her with the intention to do that, and then the first night I had her, I was like, at first I didn't even think I was gonna be able to keep her because she was like you put her in the crate and she was yapping, and I was up all night and I had to fall asleep with my fingers in her crate, and then what happened was she woke me up at like 6 in the morning whining, and I take her outside, and then she pees and poops immediately. She's 10 weeks old. And then I bring her inside and she lays on my chest, and I was listening to oh my god, I think I was listening to like maybe not Al Green, but definitely like in the vein of this, like definitely like a soul singer, R&B, something from the 60s or the 70s. And she's laying on my chest, she starts licking my face, and then I was like, I will do everything in my power to make sure you have a great life. And
Yeah,
then
and then you don't want to cut her ears. Then you don't want to do it. That's
exactly.
what we did it really, really early. But I get it about how you can not want to do it. I get that.
And that's the thing too, Luenell, is that because I would have done it. 100 if they would have done it beforehand, it would have been like great. But after that first night, I was like, why would I put this dog through any kind of discomfort?
And I was just gonna say when you were like, she was whining, she was in the crate. I was like, why you didn't put her in the bed with you?
Because you can't sleep with a puppy in the bed because they'll pee in your bed. I've had that
Oh
happen
yeah,
before.
the puppy does pee in the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
true. Yeah, you're
you know
right.
who else peed in the bed? Al Green when he was 3 years old.
Hell,
Probably
I
we all
think we
did.
probably all were peeing in the bed at 3 years old, probably.
When did you first like when did Al Green come into your life? Like, do you remember it?
Yeah. Okay. So my parents are older. That were older,
Yeah.
older parents, and all my 7 brothers and sisters are
Wow.
older. I'm the 8th of 8 kids,
Jesus.
and so Al Green, James Brown, the Staple Singers, Temptations, all that stuff was Isaac Hayes. Anything from Watt Stacks that you would see I grew up with in the house. You have to remember there was no internet, there was no cable.
Yeah.
There was only like 5 or 6 channels on TV and they went off at midnight.
Hmm.
So if you were going to have a card party or any kind of party, it was always about albums, records. And if you have a family that really jams to music, there was always a collection.
Mm-hmm.
So Al Green, the first, I don't know if this is a Call Me album, but the first album I remember Al Green's was when he was in the white room in the wicker chair with the white on, and it was all nothing, no color except for the wicker chair and maybe a plant.
I'm Still in Love with You. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm looking at it. Came out. This is the album before this. Came out in '72.
That's the first album I remember Al Green. And so, yeah, I was always, because they would have, at that time, they would have lots of card parties, my people, everything, poker, bridge, spades, bid whist, and food and liquor and music.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up with them, and a lot of people played Love and Happiness at their wedding and stuff like that, shit like that. Yeah, that was the first song of the reception.
Yeah,
that was the kick it.
And then you know what's funny? When I used to be a wedding DJ. When if you're doing a wedding, I would also do "You're My First, My Last, My Everything" by Barry White.
Yeah,
that would be like the one that, because it builds up like doom 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 doom. I'd be like, everybody.
I talked to Barry's widow today.
Did you really?
Yeah, I'm very good friends with the White family. His kids, his grandkids, his widow.
Do you know a lot of these like famous soul singers, or is it pre-fame or post-fame, or just how did that happen?
I know some. I know Earth, Wind and Fire very well. Them.
Love it.
I know some guys in Frankie Beverly and Meyers, and a few. Some of the female singers. Barry's wife was in a group called Love Unlimited. They sang "Walking in the Rain with the One I Love," and that's the only Grammy he ever won, was for the girl group.
Wow.
And some other chicks, Evelyn Champagne King, I know, and I know a few.
Did that come where you? Well, first of all, because I want to take it back, because to get to know you even more before we even get into all of that, because I feel like I'm running way ahead. Because you grew up in a family of 8. Where were you born?
Well, I was born in Arkansas, but I was raised in the Bay Area.
When did you move to the Bay Area?
Like 2 months old.
Oh yeah, Arkansas is just.
I
got delivered and left.
Packed my shit and left. Yeah.
Yeah,
packed my diaper bag and left.
You're like, fuck this place. Like, I need a breeze.
It was way more complicated than that, unfortunately.
Sure. Yeah.
But I was raised in the Bay Area, which had a huge musical influence on my life, of course.
Oh yeah.
You're talking, Sly Stone is from the Bay Area, and we had Graham Central Station, we had Tony, and In Vogue, and the Edwin Hawkins Singers, and the Pointer Singers, and Tower of Power, and all that from Oakland.
When was your formidable years there? Like what decade would that be? Like when you were like in your teens and your 20s, when you're really getting to come into your own?
70s.
So in the 70s. So what is that like in the Bay Area in the 70s? I mean, you mentioned some of those acts where a lot of them probably either starting or at the height of their career or hadn't even started yet. I mean, Tony and En Vogue, I mean, they were like late 80s, 90s.
Yeah, well, what we had okay, so I was transplanted from Arkansas to Oakland, California. But in like the second grade, we moved from Oakland, which was a predominantly African American area at that time, to a suburb of Oakland called Castro Valley, California, which was all white. Like maybe there were 5, 6
black families
in Castro Valley. So that's why I have quite a diaspora of musical content that I did grow up with. as much as I can talk about, um, as much as I can talk about Sly Stone and Tower of Power, I can talk about Journey and Huey Lewis and the News because they were there, and the Grateful Dead too would come every new no, Huey Lewis would play the Oakland Coliseum every New Year's Eve. The Grateful Dead would play like once a year. The Deadheads were
Everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah, they're
They
still
were
there.
camped out. They were tie-dyed, camped out. This is before Jerry Garcia had ice cream and all that stuff. And uh, my musical influences were largely shaped by the music that I heard in the house.
And that's you said your family was a very like, album heavy, and the
And then we
part.
had Soul Train too. See,
Oh god damn. How important was I mean Soul I feel like I caught like the tail end of it because I remember it being on when I was like a little kid. God, what's the host name? What is that famous dude?
Don Cornelius,
Don Cornelius, yeah.
love, peace, and soul.
Oh, I love that. And just like, and so what was that? You would just put on Soul Train and just see them. Was it just to feel like, oh no, these are the people that fuck with the same shit I fuck with? Or it was a person, as a black person in the 70s, or was it like, oh man, this is us doing shit too and we're
It
partying?
was
Like,
an event because on Saturday mornings in most Black and Latino households, it was cleanup time. We're cleaning up on Saturday morning, and your mom or somebody would put on music. We're mopping floors, we're sweeping, we're changing sheets, we're dusting, and all that stuff. And as we do that, we had our music. The goal was to get your chores done before 12 noon when
yeah.
Soul Train came on, so you could sit and not be bothered and look at the new dances and the fashions and the hair. And then you could see your favorite musical artist on television.
I mean, that must have been everything back then. I mean, I remember being, listening to like the hair metal of the 80s and then going to my cousin's house and he had MTV and they had Headbangers Ball. And I was just like, it was just the metal music videos. But I was like,
Now,
this is
mind you, I remember the day that MTV started. Now, let me ask you this.
what a good.
Okay, so what I remember when MTV started, they had this thing where when they would get ready to like go to commercial, there was like four girls in black like unitard, and they would be booty to booty, and they would be doing like exercise. They would do like a little aerobics thing. Like everybody doesn't remember that, but there was these girls. Like MTV had girls that would like do some like little aerobic stuff. It was I don't know how to explain it. You would have to be there to see. And then of course that's where I got introduced to Duran Duran and the
Mhm.
Cars and Wham and a lot of Bee Gees was cracking because in the 70s I think is when Saturday Night Fever came out,
Mhm.
and so there was lots of Bee Gee influence. And I can remember because I always was enthralled with LA, and I used to come to LA with in the backseat of anybody's car that was coming. And I can remember like Motley Crue having flyers stapled to like telephone poles,
Oh yeah.
stuff like that. You could go down by the Roxy and all that. And this was the big hair shit. Like I even know Dee Snider is like a friend of mine, right?
He's the
Crazy.
best. He's the
And
best.
so I remember the hair bands, Poison and Cheap Trick didn't have a lot of hair, had a little hair, and Tom Petty and all that. And it was the MTV thing that was really popping. That's what like that was the goal.
My
That was
first
the
my
goal.
first memory of MTV, and I hate to say this was like when how I not found out about it, but when I finally got to watch it for the first time, because I think it was like on at my friends' houses, who had cable in their section of the town I grew up in, because the what do you call it? The cul-de-sac, but the community, Germantown Estates, or our little section of Germantown, we didn't get cable until like 1991, I think. Maybe I think I was, or 1990. But when my grandmother died, as a Jewish person, we go up there for the funeral, but then we sit Shiva for a week where we just like, we sit around, we mourn, people come by, but you can't watch television, you can't listen to music, you can't use like anything really like entertainment wise. You're just supposed to grieve.
Jeez.
And yeah, which is a great way to handle death, to be honest with you. You're like forced to tackle it. You're forced to cry and get it out and get it out. And I mean, I know it was very helpful for my dad. And when my dad died and we sat Shiva, it actually helped me very well. But the moral of that was when everybody would go to sleep, I would sneak down to my grandmother's living room because we were doing it at her house in Pennsylvania, and MTV was on. And I remember it was right around the MTV Music Awards, and it was the year that Janet Jackson did Black Cat. I don't know if you. I remember everything. I remember her
Of
outfit.
course I remember. Of course I do.
I remember the dance moves. I remember the. I'm pretty sure like Slash came out and played guitar on it. It was just
Slash also played on. Oh no, that was Eddie Van Halen that played on "Beat It." Right?
Eddie Van Halen played on Beat It. Yeah, Slash did. I think Slash did Black or White though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just went to the Michael Cirque du Soleil show in Vegas just this last weekend.
Really? I'm
Yep.
doing Vegas, sweetheart. I'm doing Vegas for a full week at the Comedy Cellar, and I am like hoping that there's shit to do during the day that is like that. Do you know what I mean? Like I want to go see Celine Dion, like anything.
Celine's not there.
Oh,
Adele was supposed to be there. Bruno is there and will be there for New Year's. Usher just ended his residency until March, and I actually have a residency in Vegas.
do you really?
Yeah, every Sunday night at 9:30 at the Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club, in the Link Promenade under the big Ferris wheel. I was there before the Corona, and March 8th, 2020 was my last performance date there until
until
Sunday, until this last Sunday.
That's a big,
Two
it's a
years
big break.
and 9 months. 2 years and 9 months.
That is a big break, man. Yeah, I don't know. Like, listen, I'm not gonna sit here and shit talk Vegas. Every time I go there, I'm like excited about it. I'm like, no, it'll be fun this time. And then I go, and then like 3 days in, I'm like, all right, it's time to go. I'll be there for a week.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely time to go after 3 days. I was just there for 5 days. I'm freaking exhausted.
Exactly.
And I gotta go back Thursday, and I'll be there till Monday again. But that won't happen again because I just had these 2 weeks off. But I'll be flying in from other places, so I'll just be coming in on Sunday now.
Well, how about this? When I go into town for the week that I'll be there, I'm gonna swing by Jimmy Kimmel because I've never been by that club, and I want to see you anyway.
Yeah, just hit me up, and I'll come see you too because I
Ooh.
only work on Sunday nights.
Done. I love it. So talking about all this, I don't want to get too sidetracked because I feel like this is a record that I was actually excited.
Well, that's because we haven't talked in like 3
know.
years, and we really like each other, and we really got a lot of shit to talk about.
I know.
That's why.
But this is what's so funny about this podcast, Luenell, is that there are such diehards that are like, just talk about the fucking record. I know that because they tweet that at me. They're like, you guys spend so much time just talking about blah 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 blah, and we're like, well, that's what the podcast is, whatever the conversation goes.
First of all, don't boss me around about my own damn podcast. Number one.
There you go.
And number two, I block shit like that. Don't talk to me like that. But I do understand. So let's talk about Al Green.
But it's rare that I get a record on the list that I know the artist and I never listened. Like I never listened to Al Green's just singular albums. I got into him through his greatest hits, which, I mean, there's a few of the songs from this record that are on there. There's, Call Me, there's Here I Am. I think that's the only two off this record. I'd have to relook. But, in 1997, I know where I really got it. I heard Al Green the first time. I heard Let's Stay Together. I heard that on the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. And I bought that soundtrack. And then when I started making a little bit of money, I went out and I bought his greatest hits. And I've always felt this like deep connection to the soul singers, and I think that's because even though I have a very rock and roll vibe, and like that's the music I grew up listening to, and that's what I love, and that's what if I'm in a band, that's what I do. But I love singing, Otis Redding. I love singing. One of my favorite, like I don't even call it karaoke because I don't do straight karaoke, but when I jam with bands, um, I've done How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? I've done what's the Otis Redding song I do all the time? Not Pain in My Heart. I've been loving you
Yeah.
too
Too
long.
long.
Yeah, I have Otis Redding if you can see it. I have Otis Redding. I got that painting commission back there. I think he's the greatest voice. I think he's one of the coolest rock stars that might have ever lived. And yes, he's R&B, but that motherfucker was rock and roll. But Al Green was different. There was like, he never, from what I had heard, I never heard him do any kind of like real like rocky song. He's got some funk in his career, but
They you know, they say like a Keith Sweat would pattern himself like an Al Green because of the begging and the pleading that
yes,
he used to do. That just he used to just grip your soul,
yeah.
and yeah, that's that we loved Al Green, and women loved Al Green, and then he had the scandal and everything.
What was the scandal? What was the scandal that you do you know? Because I'll have Justin look it up too. But what was the scandal that you mentioned about Al
Well,
Green?
a woman scorned was the scandal. He apparently was involved with some women, or a few. This is before he ever decided to become a preacher.
Hmm.
And one of them threw some scalding hot grits on him, and third degree burnt him, like from the neck. I don't think he had a shirt on. His back, his chest, he had to be hospitalized. It was a whole big thing.
Yeah, it says here. It says October 18th, 1974, early morning hours. Ex-girlfriend, you're right, burst in. He was taking a bath, scolding hot grits on his back, and then she goes to the bedroom and shoots herself dead with Green's own gun. Not everyone, however, would have processed the meaning of this incident quite the way that Green did, believing that he had strayed from the righteous musical and spiritual course intended for him. Al Green had become a born again Christian 1 year earlier. Oh, earlier. I would have thought that for some reason, I don't know why
You
I
would
would
think that would turn him. Yeah,
that would
like
turn
I'm
him.
done with this lifestyle. Yeah.
That just reiterated. He was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for reminding me." But
Yeah.
after the attack by Mary Woodson on this day in '74, He began a process that would eventually lead him to renounce pop superstardom and all that it stood for. So, how far into his career was he when he basically gave it up? Because that's ultimately what I'm getting from that, right?
He was in it. He was in it. He was at the. He was a hottie when that happened. It was a huge deal. I was younger, and it was like, I mean, he was like a rock star, soul singer, rock star. Shirt off, sweating, making the women go crazy. That whole shit.
Is what's the song? Well, no, I'm not gonna say what's the song because I know "Let's Stay Together" came out before this. Like, how big was "Let's Stay Together"? Was that his first record? Justin, can you look that up for me, bud? How
Well,
big
hell,
was?
Obama just sang it.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Where? Like just like on the campaign trail?
Uh huh. Nah, he wasn't campaign. Yeah, was he? I think it was at a big, convention, and he's saying, "I'm so in love with you," and everybody
Oh
went,
yeah.
everybody went up.
I mean, I think that is. I mean, this is making fun of white people, but I think "Let's Stay Together" is one of the soul songs that most white people
No,
know and can probably sing a lot of the lyrics to. Whereas something like, what's the Marvin Gaye song that's real sexy? Not Sexual Healing. What's the other one?
distant lover.
No, 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 no. It's the one I'm thinking of is oh fuck off. What is it? It's on the tip of my tongue. Um There's
Got to
sexual.
give it up.
God no, but
Sexual
sexy.
healing.
No, let's. No, God damn it. God damn. I'm gonna look this up. I gotta look it up now because I'm gonna feel like a
Okay.
fucking idiot. Hold on, give me 1 second. But yeah,
Marvin.
but I would put "Let's Stay Together," Marvin Gaye. I would put "Let's Stay Together" and this song that I'm looking up right now, Gaye. Not "What's Going On." Let's get it on. Let's
Oh,
get
let's get
it
it on.
on. My God, Josh, how could you forget that? I'd put "Let's Stay Together" and "Let's Get It On" as like, very sexy songs. Because "Let's Stay Together" is him just saying, it's basically what the title is. It's like, I'm so in love with you, you know, whatever you want to
Whatever
do
you want to do is all right
is
with
all right
me.
with me. Let's
You
stay
make me
together.
feel so brand new.
Yeah,
I want to spend my life with you.
who do you think more babies were conceived to? Out of any of the soul singers, who do you think is the number one baby making soul singer? And that means we got Barry White, Marvin Gaye, Al Green. Who else would you put in there?
Isaac Hayes.
You think Isaac really?
Mm-hmm.
I just know Shaft. Is that bad?
Oh, yeah, that's bad. But
Black
it's
Moses.
okay.
I used to have, in my defense. Wait, hold on, Luenell. In my defense, my
You had
dad
the
was
Black
really.
Moses
I had
poster.
I had the no, not the Black Moses poster. I had the when you folded out the
It's the
record.
album.
It was the album, The Cross, and I had that.
We still have it on the door right now as we speak at my mom's house in Arkansas. She's been dead for years, but that Black Moses uh, album is open and tacked onto the door in our house in Arkansas right now.
I love that. I
Right
wish
now.
my dad. I mean, I bet my sister kept all that stuff when my dad died because she kept all the vinyl. But yeah, like who do you think is the most amount of kids, or even not even, let's cut it down away from that. Like out of all of those singers, like whose career is based around the music of Amor, the lovemaking music? What do you think?
Well, Smokey Robinson
Mm-hmm.
and definitely Marvin Berry. Um, I want to say Sam Cooke, but not really.
Sam Cooke, you know what's funny is Sam Cooke, was more, and this is why I loved why we do this podcast. I always thought Sam was like very like, and take this where it is, very like whitewashed in the sense that he just was a black soul singer that really just tried to fit into whatever the mold white people was, because a lot of those artists at the time had to do that to make any money. And then Sam, we did a record on this podcast live from the Harlem Square Club, and it might be one of the best records I've listened to since doing this podcast. And it was like Sam being himself, playing to like a real party. When they like Bring It On Home, I mean, you can hear the energy of the crowd in the room, and it just is like, it's just so palpable where it's, even though that came out fucking years ago, it's like, it's just, I'd put that performance up there with anything, with Cheap Trick, live at Budokan or any of the other live records. It's incredible. And to be able to hear him sing like that, which is not with that smooth tenor, it's this like raspy, like fucking, like he's just partying, and he's it's like the same reason I love Otis Redding is like, when you hear Otis Redding, if most people know Otis as sitting on the dock of the bay, but if you listen to like any of his versions of Try a Little Tenderness, or there's a record that I tell so many people to listen to, which is Otis Redding live at the Whiskey Go-Go. He did 3 nights at the Whiskey Go-Go in Los Angeles, and almost the same set every night, but just every song's a little different on all 3 nights. And it's just, I listen to it like, and I'm like, if I could have seen any concert in the history of mankind, that's where I would want to. It's so good.
Good for you.
Oh, it's just the best. It's the best. I mean, that's what I'm saying is that as I've gotten older, I had that connection with everybody, like I said, through Pulp Fiction. I think it started with Al Green, and then it moved into like Sly and the Family Stone, because my mom listened to Sly. But I don't know if I would put Sly in the same genre as Al Green. He's way funkier. He's way funkier.
Yeah. No, Sly is not a balladeer and love making song maker. He was funk for sure. And I mean, hell, Sly played it at Woodstock.
Yeah, for sure. And here's the thing: but has a great voice, is an incredible songwriter. But when we're talking about like these, like the real, I don't even, because it's all soul.
Balladeers,
The
love.
balladeers, yeah, I like that you said that. I like that you said the balladeers. You know, Jackie Wilson, Wilson Pickett, Sam Cooke, James Brown. Even James Brown I'd put in there, even though, like, once again, he was pretty funky too. But Al, there's something about him that I think out of all of his records, even the record we're talking about today, Call Me, it is made for fucking.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you could say Sam Cooke, he would do, a change gonna come. Wilson Pickett, I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour. Jackie Wilson, he's upbeat. But James, even when he gets funky on this record, like, it's to fuck to. That just means he's picking up his stroke a little bit. You know what I mean? He's quickening the
Like
beat.
I said, Al Green was, he was performing with his shirt off and sweating and grinding on, women and stuff like this way, 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 50 years ago.
Yeah.
But and I mean 50 years ago.
I know, it really is.
So that was a big deal then, not such a big deal now, but that was a really, really, really big deal then. And to have women going into a tizzy and frizzy, I mean, hell, a woman blew her brains out over him. Shit.
Yeah. Would you say that Al Green's sexy? Which is like, and excluding just the singing, like, if you just saw him on the street, would you be like, oh, this motherfucker?
Well, it's sort of in the style of the clothes that you wear and the way you wear them and the swag in which you walk and carry yourself that sort of makes you sexy. And yes, I would say that.
I think that, I've never seen a live real performance of him. I wanted to go see him
There
recently.
I mean, you won't now neither, unless you go see him at church. But I think that every now and then they pull him out to do like an Essence Festival or something like that. And he has started incorporating some of his old songs back in, but he's old and fat now, like, the rest of us. So
Hey,
I wouldn't say sexy so much.
So in high school, he formed a vocal group called Al Green and the Creations, and later changed their name to Al Green and the Soulmates. They recorded the song "Backup Train," which became a hit on the R&B charts, peaking at 46 in the Cashbox Top 100. However, the group's subsequent follow-ups failed to chart, and shortly after, Green came into contact with Memphis producer Willie Mitchell, who hired him in '69 to be a vocalist for a Texas show with Mitchell's band. Following the performance, Mitchell asked Green to sign with his High Records label, having noted that Green had been trying to sing like Jackie Wilson, Sam Cooke, Wilson Pickett, and James Brown. Mitchell became his vocal mentor, coaching him into finding his own voice. Before releasing his first album with High, Green removed the final E from his name. His first album, Green is Blues, came out in '69 with moderate success. His next record, Al Green Gets Next to You. All right, so here we go. We got the pictures up, everybody. Oh yeah. That famous picture of him, the one that you got pulled up right now, where him kind of looking,
black and white one,
the black and one from Let's Stay Together. That's the Let's Stay Together picture.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is a handsome man.
That's right.
Hair looks great. They got the collar popped. Really good looking dude.
Yes.
And then and then there's the other one with him with his shirt off. Yeah, there you go. You're right. For some reason, when you said he had his shirt off, I was like, I don't ever remember that. That's one of the most iconic shots.
If you were a woman, you would.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's a good looking man. Even now he's gotten fat. Yeah, I see it now. Yeah. Oh, Al. God damn, he is a good looking dude. God damn.
He was. I mean, he's still Al Green, and there's still, women who live in the past, and they still gonna see Al as that black and white picture, period. Like, if anybody had to play him right now in an auto bio, I would say Usher could do it,
Oh, no, I agree. I totally agree with that. Yeah, I see that. Would you consider Al Green's voice to be one of the most instantly recognizable?
If you're black, yes.
Yeah, I think
you talk about your Twitter fan, you probably gonna get some backlash on even doing Al Green from your people. Like, well, why did you pick this guy? Who gives a damn? And da 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 da. When are you gonna do Sabbath and da da da? So
I
Sorry to the people out there in the podcast. We're spending some time on Al Green today because he's a legend and he deserves it.
who would you compare his voice to? How unique it is. Like what other singers have a voice that's unique? Because there's a way that he sings that it's like a falsetto, but
It's
you,
nasally,
it's
actually.
very nasally. But
I would say Keith Sweat. I would say Keith Sweat. Nobody sounds like Al, but anybody who I think patterns, they have a patterns like Al Green. I think it was Keith Sweat because in the begging and the love songs and yeah, I would say for me, I can only speak for me. Yeah, I would say
who would
Keith Sweat.
who would I say? I would say in his style. I mean, I'm trying to think of the people whose voices I
See,
hear
when
in
you
it.
got your style, like that's yours. Like,
Yeah.
that's like saying, who do you think sounds like you, Luenell? Well, some man. It wouldn't be no chick. There's no chicks that sound like me. So, I mean, nobody sounds like Al, and nobody sounds like Marvin. Um, Robin Thicke just got slapped, with a case about blurred lines, and they say that was the got to give it up sample, and him and Pharrell they got sued the shit out of and had to pay because it literally was sort of just like that song. But
Hmm.
I don't really know that there's anybody who I could say sound like Al Green, but his voice is easily instantly recognizable
I
for
think
sure.
I think out of all the soul singers, you immediately know when you're putting on an Al Green song, which is funny about this record because I think there's what 12 tracks on it. Let me look at the track listing. Let's regardless. Yeah,
I
there's
think
about
maybe Ron Isley, when Ron Isley's
yes, yeah,
around
I'll
here.
take Ron Isley too. Yeah, because he's got that like that same kind of like high pitched falsetto.
Yeah.
Help me, baby, you're contagious. Round
I'm
and
thinking
round.
even earlier Isley brother, I'm thinking early Isley brother, like,
That's the one I remember.
um
I remember "Contagious," man, because I remember that music video. It's like,
well,
"What
that
the
was him
hell
and
you
R.
doing
Kelly.
in my bed?"
That was him and R. Kelly.
Yeah,
But
I know.
the Isley brothers I'm thinking about is like, um oh shit. I know all the Isley brothers, so I'm trying to think of which one I would talk to you about right now. Probably uh Footsteps in the Dark,
Hmm.
that is very, very sexy. Even Ice
Hmm.
Cube sampled that for Today Was a Good Day.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Um, I'm trying to. This is like I'm looking at the track listings. Call me. Have you been making out? Okay, stand up. I'm so
ooh,
lonesome. I cry.
yes.
It's just so many great songs. But the funny thing is, I don't. I almost feel like this whole record it's not song based. This is groove based. Like one groove matches the other. Like what do you think about that? Do you think this is more of a song based record or a groove based one?
I think I can't separate that, because for me, like the song "Have You Been Making Out Okay" was a big hit. For other people, maybe not so much.
Hmm.
But I really, really felt that song when that song came out, and I was young. My brother in Arkansas was a DJ at one time, and one of the memories that I always have of going to our family reunion, which we just went to for the first time since COVID in August. And the only music that I hear from the time I get to Texas to my sister's house, ride in her car and go to our people's house in Arkansas, is nothing but old school music. So those songs remind me of being back in the South with my family, being outdoors, playing cards and the night and listening to music and drinking and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. This is perfect. Like sit back either like I said in the situation of fucking or just chilling. I listened to this record while I was making a drive from I was going to from last night I just did it from Philly back to New York and it was just the perfect record to listen to as I was driving.
Yeah,
Um
it's definitely good cruise cruise control music.
And this is what's funny is that this album I just read is considered Al Green's masterpiece.
Right.
What does this record do? Because have you listened to his whole catalog? Are you're like, do you think that like you could say like what if this is considered his masterpiece? What does this record do that others do not?
Well, he was new on the scene. See, he
Mhm.
was pretty new on the scene, and he had like 4 or 5 bangers on that album. And we didn't used to skip because you have to play the whole album to know what you want to skip anyway.
Mhm.
And it's just like, I mean, it was a whole event. Have you heard the Al Green album? Let's go get the album. Oh, I got money from my paper route. How much is the album? It's $3.99. $3.99. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, I gotta get $2 more. It was a big hustle to
Yeah.
try to save up to get anybody's album back then. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it was an event, and you get it and put it on and sit around and listen to it from beginning to end, and then you do it again. And then you maybe start skipping some.
It was
But
that you're saying it like Al Green was that popular and this is
yeah. Oh, for
that
sure.
that
Yes.
when a record came out, the way that I remember Morty, our old writer, said we were talking about Bowie, and he was like, when Bowie put out an album, it wasn't just an album. It was like people were foaming at the mouth, stopping whatever they were doing to go get it, and just you'd put it on and you would listen to it all the way through. Is that
But
what
also you got to remember the albums had pictures, albums had credits,
Mhm.
albums had descriptions, dedications.
Yeah.
And there was a lot to read on an album as you were listening to an album, and the photos and the photo art. You know what I'm saying? There was
Yeah.
a lot to do when you got an album. Streaming is only the music, but an album is a whole book. It's a whole thing.
No, it was like a piece of you felt like you owned a piece of the artist. You felt like almost they gave it to you and you would sit there and you would read the lyrics as you listened to the album and you would cuz I when I really got into it, it was all tapes, which you could still unfold the paper that was in the tape cassette.
Yes, if you have a magnifying glass.
Yeah, but I was a kid, so I had those young eyes, them good,
Oh
clean,
yeah,
like I
yeah,
could
yeah.
see everything, dude. But I never really understood. I'm not saying I didn't understand, but I missed out on the vinyls, which was like I used to see my dad like sitting there in this little. I guess it was like our we had a family room and a living room, and it was in the living room. My dad had his stereo set up, and he would just sit there with the album, and he'd be listening to the record, and he'd look at the thing, and so when I would put on some of his records because they were cool, I would do the same thing. That's why I found out about the Black Moses thing. You know what I mean? Because you unfold that thing, and then it's you get this great picture of Isaac Hayes.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. I knew that he was big, and I knew like Al Green was important to soul music, but I would never thought that it was an event when one of his.
Well, I
albums
mean,
came out.
it's all in the demographic. Like there's a lot of Black people who weren't into Leonard Skinner, but look how Leonard Skinner was such a soul singer, literally. In this old country bluegrass sort of way,
Yeah.
Leonard Skinner had an amazingly soulful voice. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
his brother, who took over after he got killed,
Mhm.
great voice. But it's a little segregationist, back then.
Of
Somewhat.
course.
It doesn't diminish the popularity of anybody. It just was in different demographic.
Did you because you mentioned that you moved to that predominantly white area. Did you get a lot of not racism from living there, but I was talking more about like music where it was like, did you notice the white kids listening to a lot of the Black music and vice versa, the Black kids listening to a lot of white music?
Let me think about that. No, I did not. I knew Black kids was listening to Black music and white
White
kids
kids
was
listening to
listening
white
to
music.
the white music,
Yeah.
unless the friend zone crossed. And if you had white friends that had Black friends, of black friends that have white friends, then they both got exposed to each other's music. And then that's how I learned everything. And
Who
plus, like I say, MTV, you
who
know.
was the white friend that turned you on to white music?
Um, well, there was more than one because if you're only one of six black families, and you're gonna have some white friends, and you
Yeah,
ain't
yeah,
gonna have no black
yeah.
friends at all. So
Yeah.
there was more than one. But I, I nobody turned me on to the Bee Gees, and I don't give a fuck who don't like the Bee Gees because disco came and all that shit, whatever. I mean, but a Saturday Night Fever turned me on to the Bee Gees, and I went BG goddamn crazy.
You loved him.
One of the first albums I ever had was Hard Day's Night by the Beatles. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Love the Beatles. I can karaoke Win singing Can't Buy Me Love to this day. I will win. There's no doubt about it. And we also went into the Yellow Submarine era.
Yellow Submarine. Yellow Submarine it's such an underrated song. Like I want to do that at the goddamn Comedy Jam so bad to close out the show because I just want to get everybody, 500 people just we all live in a yellow submarine. Yellow submarine. Yellow submarine. And there's so many ways you can say it. Because if you listen to that ending of that song, they're all four of the guys and the Beatles are singing different harmonies on it. So you have the guy like we all live in a yellow submarine, which is the main one. But you can hear John doing that. We all live in a yellow submarine. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, and then like I said, Wham fucking came out. And they sounded black until we got a load of George Michael. He continued to sing soul music all his life. He had duets with Aretha Franklin, and all kind of people. And Wake Me Up Before You Go might have been pop, but it sounded sort of blackish. And then Careless Whispers and Father Figure and all that. George Michael was definitely crossover. I loved Van Halen because this was, David Lee Roth with the big hair and the karate kicks and shit. And so I loved that. I loved the Cars. I loved Duran Duran. I thought they were really cute and shit. And but then I also was listening to Chicago.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Average White Band, AWB.
Yeah, but every white band you've just mentioned though, Luenell, is has a very strong black influence in their writing.
Well, I mean, yeah, I wasn't into Zeppelin, and I wasn't into Sabbath, and I wasn't into that type of stuff. They just the Elvis movie just came out, and you could clearly see his influence, with the black music influence in his life. And diehard Elvis Presley fans would not want to admit that, but it's clearly true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, what's funny is like Green on this record, if this is what the notes are true, it's like he covers 2 country songs on this record. I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry and Funny How Time Slips Away. So what does that tell you about how his musical mind worked? Because this is a soul singer taking two country songs and turning them into soul.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, music is supposed to unite, not separate.
100%.
So if he was smart, which apparently he was, he would take a song like that, but you just have to do it justice or do it better. You can't take a beloved country song and put your black ass take on it because they will tear your ass up. You have to do it justice, or you have to do it a little bit better.
Yeah,
period.
For sure.
No, or you're going to get, a cross burning on your lawn the next day.
Let me ask you a question. This is way off topic, but I've always wanted to ask you about this. Do you mind talking about Borat?
Hold on. Can you hold on 1 minute?
Yeah, go
ahead. Hold on for 1 minute. So, Borat is now 15 years old. Okay.
God damn. Yeah.
Easily the most lucrative and popular film that I've done that nobody knows I'm in.
Really?
People do not equate me with Borat unless, like, black people definitely don't. The black people was way, way, way late to the party. We didn't know what a Borat was. I
Yeah.
didn't know what the fuck I was doing when I filmed it. I got a check from Borat today
Nice.
for $4,000.
Good God. That's
15 years later.
the gift that keeps on giving.
And this book I just ran across the other day for the people, listeners, you can't see, but I'm showing him a book that was given to us as a gift at the end of the film. Half the book is in America and half the book is in Romania. So, and it's showing some of the behind the scenes stuff. Now, here's a picture of me that I'm showing you now in the middle of all these crazy Romanians. We had to fly into Bucharest and then go to some city. You see?
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
They carried me through the street like an ambassador.
Well, you were probably the first black person they ever saw.
I might have been. But there's some very dark Romanians over there, and you see Sasha right here.
Oh my God. How did you get it? How did you ending up in that movie? I think it's one of the most iconic characters in the movie because your scene is so you're like when you're in it, it's you steal every scene.
Okay, first of all, I had to audition.
Sure.
I auditioned, and I hear the people like Gwyneth Paltrow and stuff auditioned for this role. There was only 5 actors in the entire movie. Every single body else signed a release because people are that thirsty to be on television.
Oh yeah.
And then when it came out and it showed them not in a good light, they wanted to sue Borat. First of all, you can't sue a fictitious character. There is no Borat. Second of all, you definitely don't have the money to go up against the movie company.
Yeah.
So nobody
won
anywhere. No.
Yeah.
And it's very, very shocking and hard to watch because I went back about 3 months ago and tried to watch it. I'm in the goddamn movie and I went in 10 minutes. I was 10 minutes in. I was like, I can't do this.
It's so uncomfortable, but it's so great.
Hugely uncomfortable.
Yeah, it really is.
What it is about what people say when they think that nobody's really listening. Racially. I mean, if you will recall, I don't know how prophetic this fool was. Hell, he took a dump in front of Trump Tower in New York City.
Yeah.
In the movie.
I know.
There were 96 arrests during the making of Borat.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And Larry Charles was our director, and he's a mad scientist as well.
I mean,
he's
Seinfeld.
Just as crazy as
dude. Curb Your Enthusiasm, Seinfeld. Like
Larry Charles is a mad scientist in the lab, and the people that were in there, the drunken frat boys and the camper, or the people that we had the dinner party, those are real people saying real shit. Then they got him, and then they signed the real release. And then it came out and they were like, oh my God, but I didn't mean it like that. Oh, yes, you did.
Yeah.
So it was really a scientific experiment, a social experiment on what people say when they think that nobody's watching. But now with social media and stuff, people say anything they want to about anybody they want to under the guise of anonymity, being keyboard gangsters. 90% of the stuff that people say on Twitter, they would not say to that person's face.
Oh, not at all. No, not at all. Not at all. Did you have any?
I always challenge somebody to come talk to me. Meet me. You want to come see me? You got something to say about me.
I know. Did you have any?
I'm a girl.
Did you have any idea that it was going to be as big as it was? Like, did you know about Borat and Sacha Baron Cohen prior to it?
I knew about Sacha being Ali G.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a Borat was. I didn't even know how to pronounce it. And plus, you're sitting home one day in the Crenshaw district of LA, which was where I was living, and you get an email that says, pack your bags, you're off to Bucharest, Romania. What the fuck? That is not my vacation destination spot.
What was that like? What was that like in Bucharest? I mean, I did
It was
the
dirty.
pictures were awesome.
Well, Bucharest is a main city, so it was a city and fountains and stuff like that. I did not enjoy the food, and Vlad or whatever the fuck city town. It wasn't a town. I mean, it wasn't a city. It was a town where we went, where we filmed all the rural stuff, like when I had the milk machine hooked to my boobs and there was a cow in the house. That's all in this little nasty town that really lives like that. You know, they didn't really pay those people. They gave them oil and sugar and computers.
Wow. When did you know that it was going to be big? When was the moment that you were like, holy shit, I just did something that's like, this is bigger than just doing, you know, a scene in a movie? Yeah, dude, that you are so cute. Oh my God, dude, you are so adorable. You're adorable now, but you dressed up like a fucking babushka. I mean, that's not a bad look for you, baby. Like,
I know that waist was cinched, Shuddy. Well, the commercials started coming out, and I was like, oh my God. But I think it really didn't hit me until I pulled up at the premiere. It is easily, and only the Dolomite Is My Name, Eddie Murphy premiere was as big as Borat. We couldn't do a premiere for Coming to America because it came out during damn COVID.
Yeah.
That would have been big. It would have had zebras and all that shit, but we didn't get to it. When I pulled up at the premiere, Sunset Boulevard was shut down.
Nice.
There were mules and carts and women and all kinds of wild shit. And Sasha came in riding on something wild. I don't know, some kind of something. It was the biggest. It was huge. Well, and that is why we made so much money. Yeah. Because it was a blockbuster, but they only had to pay 5 people.
Yeah, I know. And I don't know if you know Peter Baelish, who works with Sasha. Like, I know Peter. We used to work out together.
Hold on, I got Peter's picture right here. You tell me if you talk about this, Peter.
No, I know the fucking small British Peter and his wife, and we used to do CrossFit together, and he was just this skinny little waif that you know, would try his best. But I remember then he kept talking about he works with Sasha, and I was like, no shit, dude, and we just became buds. He came to the goddamn Comedy Jam in LA, and we hit it off. If you think about it, you know, Luenell, you've worked with I think now she's starting to, but I wouldn't put her on the Mount Rushmore. But you worked with 2 out of like some of the biggest comedian. Yeah, dude. Oh God, he looks so different. Jesus, a good-looking guy. But you've worked with Sacha Baron Cohen and Eddie Murphy, who are probably 2 of the biggest comedic minds in history. You know, that have done, I mean, so much. And
Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle.
But now
I'm working with Gene Smart.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. Hacks. What is that? How are you enjoying Hacks? Or like, what's that experience been like?
Obsessed with Hacks.
Yeah.
Obsessed. You don't think as a young Black girl when you're watching Designing Women that you're going to go up and even meet any of these women, let alone work with any of them. And Gene Smart, they don't write for older women in this town, but they did. And when they did, it's a hit. They're writing the 3rd season now. I think I'm back in. You know, they told me they got me slated. So I did the first season. I did 1 episode. 2nd season, I did 4 episodes. I already know there's 2 with me in it on this 3rd season. So we'll see what more happens, but the chemistry between everybody is delicious. It's a great working environment, great place to work. But I just get so many close but not thing there to put me over. Like Borat should have made me a big ass star.
Yeah,
but
dude.
I had to sign a gag order. and
Yeah.
I couldn't tell nobody that I wasn't a prostitute for fucking like 7 months, which, you go into the Polo Club in Beverly Hills and they're like, there's that
They're
prostitute.
a hoe. They're
And
a
you want to
hoe.
say, I'm not a hoe. I'm really an actress, but you don't know who you're talking to in this
Yeah.
town. And now you done breached your contract and they're going to
Yeah.
sue you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I get a lot of close, but not just like Coming to America. I could have got a lot of play out of that. Came out during COVID.
During
We didn't
COVID.
even have a premiere or nothing like that. So
My
one
thing,
day,
I was talking to, who I was just talking to about Gene Smart, which is like, man, it's like you want to talk about having an incredible second half of her career, like to do Designing Women, which is one of the biggest shows of the 80s and the 90s. And then like I was talking to my friend Justine Marino about another comic, and she goes, a few years ago, like 5 years ago, 6 years, she was in like those Hallmark movies on like Lifetime that are just,
nobody was checking for Gene Smart 5 years ago.
I know,
Nobody.
and now she's the hottest, one of the hottest and best actresses. She's the go-to character actress in Hollywood right now.
That bitch right now. Oh yes, and I think we won like the first season. I think we won like 13 Emmys.
Yeah, well deserved. Because I know Hannah. I've known Hannah when she first started stand up, and she's just the best
Oh, Hannah is. This is her first
ever.
series.
This is her first anything big.
She is knocking this shit so far out the park.
Yeah.
I'm like, you were born to do this role right here.
All right,
you were born to do that.
So you've worked, because there's so many, and we got to wrap this up. But because I want to tell a story too about me and you before we get into the final questions. But out of all the people that you've worked with, what is your favorite story? Whether it's Eddie Murphy, whether it's Dave Chappelle, Gene Smart, or Borat, what is your favorite story out of your illustrious career?
God, that's very hard to say because, I did 3 Sandler movies as well.
Throw him in too. Anyone you've worked with fucking hitters. Yeah, I'd put Sandler on the Mount Rushmore too.
Yeah, and when I did this movie with Adam Sandler called That's My Boy, which is a hilarious.
It is. It's a slept on movie for sure. It's so good.
I'm gonna tell you what happened. First of all, it was rated R because it's totally, absolutely, from the first scene to the last one, inappropriate. Within the first 10 minutes of the movie, you got a teacher going down on a student, and they're having an affair. Like what? So what happened was, when this is Adam Sandler, Dick in a Box Adam Sandler, but people forget about when he used to do that on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
So then he started making all these family movies, family movie. But then he didn't make a family movie, and he made That's My Boy, rated R. Well, they were so used to him making these family movies that all the housewives got their wine and their Xanax and grabbed the kids and went to the matinee. Let's go see Adam's movie. Gonna go see Adam. And they walked in there, and then when the movie went totally to the left, then they all ran screaming out of the movie theater, grabbing the kids and protested, and gave us a lot of backlash and a lot of shit. So the movie didn't get the play that it should have. And then the other 2 movies I did with him were Hotel Transylvania 1 and 2, where I just used my voice.
Yeah.
I think that during the making of That's My Boy, you got James Caan, and you've got, rest in peace, you got Tony Orlando, you got Jets coach Rex Ryan, and you've got, Sierra played my daughter, and Todd Bridges, and
everybody,
all kinds of crazy people.
Yeah.
So that was really pretty iconic. And of course, I did The Rock, which was like the second movie I ever did. That's Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage.
Dude, I'm telling you now, like you're a pubic hair away from being one of the biggest stars in the world.
That's a long, tough hair, baby. I wish it would come head on now. Shit. I want to commend you on your water drinking. You were knocking that jug back like nobody did. If I drank all that, you drink all that in a day?
I drink 1.5 of these a day for my vocal cords.
Jesus, you must
Yeah.
have this. You got the skin of a 17-year-old.
No,
If
I
I
don't.
drink so much water, my stomach is too big. It would sound like the Pacific Ocean be
My,
walking down.
I have, unfortunately, I have my mom's skin, and that means I don't have eczema, but I got pretty much everything else. So I got rosacea, I got adult acne. I can't get rid of that. I swear to God, man. I look in the mirror, I'm like, I'm about to be 43 years old, and I have the skin of a 13-year-old going through hormonal changes, and I'm like, God damn it. This
As
is
long as you don't have the penis of a
No,
13-year-old,
thank
you're all
God.
right.
But I did think I had a small penis for a long time because my ex-girlfriend used to say that in fights. And then for years after, I swear to God, Luenell, years after, women would be like, "You have a nice dick." And I'd be like, "All right, stop fucking around, okay?"
No, listen, that is
Don't.
the lowest blow. There's
Lowest.
nothing you can say to a man to make him want to stab you in the neck more than that. Except like I fucked your big dick friend. But you
Yeah.
know, I
That's a
mean, you know,
callback.
you can call somebody broke, you can talk about their mama, you can do, but if you say you the little dick bastard, you say some shit like that, now you better run, bitch. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. That
I have
definitely.
not said that to anybody, even when I have seen the smallest dick in America. I've seen it. It was nothing but hair and a head. It looked like a mushroom cap coming out of the grass. I was like, this is pathetic.
This is before we get into the final questions, because we got to
Yeah,
get out of
now that
here.
we're starting to talk about dick and shit,
No,
I
no,
guess
no, 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 no.
your
We can keep talking
listeners are
about
like,
dick.
what the fuck does that got to
Fuck,
do with Al Green?
they can kiss my small dick. It's a regular penis. It's a regular penis. Everybody, it's a regular. Nobody's
I'll be
complaining.
the judge of that.
All right,
Anyway,
all right. Here we go. We'll put that on Patreon. Um,
okay.
my favorite story with you, which I don't even if you remember. You might remember how we met when we did a show at Cal State Northridge. Do you remember that? Like it was in 19, not, I'm sorry, not 19, 2012, May of 2012. You were headlining and I got booked through, I think, Janae Thompson to feature for you. And it was in the student union. I don't know what you got paid, but I'll remember I got paid $600 and I needed that $600 because I got in that car accident where I lost my friend in January 2012.
Oh,
And I started because of that accident, my friend dying in the accident, my best friend, one of the funniest comics of all time, Angelo Bowers. I started a severe dependency on painkillers. And right when we get and I'm talking from January 2nd all the way until May, I'm spending hundreds of dollars a day on them. People were donating money to me from a medical bills, and I spent it on drugs because I was
yeah.
it was a tough time in my life.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
so I
You know,
find
Tracy Morgan had to go through that with his accident, he lost his friend.
him, Artie, all of those guys. I mean,
Artie,
you get in these accidents. So, and especially it's like you're already depressed. Like, look out here, you're already depressed. And then the doctor's like, oh, here, do you want this thing that will take away not only your physical pain, but all the mental, it's a painkiller of everything. It is nothing to do with just your body. It can take away.
Cold-blooded opioid, baby.
Mhm. So, but I had before we get that gig, I think it was like 2 days prior, I started going through detox because I had told a friend and I was like, I am done. I am done taking opiates. I got to get my life back. I don't want to just die from a drug overdose and having my friend die. It's like it's all in vain because I've got to live for both of us now. And so I think that, let's say it was like a Friday was the first day sober, Thursday was the first day sober, and then on Friday, so day 2, we had that show that night at Cal
You
State
met
Northridge.
me.
And I met
Wow.
you, but you were so sweet. But this is the thing. Earlier in the day, my friend tells me I should go to like a sauna and go to a spa. And my mom had loaned me like $300 until the weekend because she went behind my dad's back, sent me money because I was just like, Mom, I got to get this
That's
fixed or
what
whatever.
moms do.
That's what moms do. God bless her soul. And so I go to a spa. And I go I get a massage. I go into a sauna and a steam room. So all the opiates are like rushing out of my system. And then I go get food. And then I drive to Cal State Northridge. Cal State Northridge, I think our show is at like 7 or 8 o'clock. I drive out there. I remember I'm sitting in the car. At this point, all of the opiates are like rushing out of my system. So I feel horrible. And I walk into the student union where we're about to do our show and I meet the lady that's in charge. and she says, all right, so Luenell's not here yet. She'll be here in a little. You're gonna go up. The host is gonna do a few minutes. You're gonna do about 20. And then here's your check. And she goes, and so you can just chill until then. And I mean, I am pale white. I look like death. I am dying. And I look at the lady and I say, hey, so that's cool. Where's the green room? I don't feel well. I think I have some food poisoning. I need to lay down. And she goes, oh, you're standing in it. And we're literally in the hallway of this building. Like it's like there's a hallway, there's like double doors, and then the stage is like you walk in, the stage is like to the right. And so literally hallway, there's a bathroom there that people are walking in to use. And I look at her, like, this is a green room. She's like, yeah. And I go, I'm gonna lay here on the ground. Just nudge me when it's my time to go up. Now I still haven't talked to you yet.
Right.
I think you had gotten there. I think you got there. You'll get brought up in a second. And then they nudge me. I sleep for like 15 minutes. They nudge me. I walk on stage. I had one of the best sets I've ever had because I could have given a shit.
Right.
I didn't care if they liked me, if they hated me. I just wanted to get paid and go home. I had a great time. And then I get off stage and I stick around and watch you. But you come up to me afterwards and you were like, you fucking killed it. And you didn't say anything else. You were just like, you said I was cute. But you were just like, you gave me such a perfect hug that I needed. And I think I held on to you a little bit longer. And you were like, okay. You were like, okay, all right, slow down, baby. But it was one of those things that was like, you meant what you said. I think you probably could tell that I was going through something. And you just gave me everything that I needed in that moment. And you were just like, hey, you got it, dude. That was brilliant. And
I love you for that. Remember, and the thing is when we linked up in Canada,
mm-hmm.
like I fell madly back in love with you and the gig.
Yeah.
And remember, we were trying so hard. I'm like, I want to do this shit when you get back to LA. I'll come out there. I want to do it. I'll still do it whenever.
Wait, let me ask you a question. Are you in town? Are you in Los Angeles November 20th? It's a Sunday night. It's the Sunday before Thanksgiving. We're doing the goddamn.
I'm in Vegas every Sunday.
Oh, God, yeah. All right, we'll make it work. We'll make it work when we can make it work. But
yeah, we'll make it work.
I would love to see you.
But every Sunday, I'm at the Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Everybody, and be sure to put up my Instagram.
We will. Don't worry. Here, let's do this, and then we'll promote away because I wanna, and I'll promote at the beginning and the end for you, regardless. All right. So we ask these questions to everybody on the podcast. Very curious to hear yours. Let me pull my list up just so I can make sure I get mine. What was your favorite song from this record?
Oh well, I think it would have to be "Call Me." Shit, my favorite song from that album.
From that album, "Call Me." Yeah, is it "Call Me" title track?
I think it was. I really, really loved it. And then I didn't like "For the Good Times." Didn't love that.
Oh well, yeah. Here, that's the second one. The second question would be, what's your least favorite song from this record?
Probably "For the Good Times."
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't love that one.
I think my favorite is "You Ought to Be With Me." I really liked. What was it? "Jesus Is Waiting."
I really like that. Yeah, "Jesus Is Waiting" is good. That was a good one too.
Yeah, "Jesus Is Waiting" is great.
Yeah, that's a good one too. And for the Good Times is good too. All of them are really good.
It's so hard sometimes to say what's the song you dislike. It's more or less like, what do you skip over?
I just don't love that as much as the other, but it's not that I disliked any of them.
It's this whole record's fire. But if I had to pick one that I dislike the most, I would probably say, fuck. I don't know.
Let me look at this song list. Let me just look.
What's the song? Let me pull it up, because I think my favorite song on this record. I just want to see if I can find it. Give me 2 seconds and I'll pull this up. Got me. What the one's like? No, that's not it. Hold on. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Oh, this is my favorite song on the record. It's funny how time slips away.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because I pulled this one up, and if I save it, that means it's my favorite. I mean, it's just brilliant. All right, this is a stupid question.
I'm still in. Let me see. Oh, this one is not the. Okay. Let's see. Call Me, Love That. Have You Been Made? Okay, Love That. Stand Up. I'm so lonesome. Yeah, okay. Your love is like a mercy. Cool. Here I am. Loved it. Funny how time slips away. Loved it. You Ought to Be With Me. Great. Jesus, the way to great. Yeah,
It's
those are
hot.
good. You're
Yeah.
gonna make me fuck around and play that in the car today.
Listen to it. Listen to it. All right. This is a stupid question because I already know the answer to it, but this is we got to ask it. All right, is this a record that you can fuck to? And if you got to pull one song off of this to fuck to put on your sex playlist, what song are you pulling from this to put on a sex playlist? Obviously, this is the fuck.
Put that list back up there again. Let me see. I could fuck to Here I Am, Come and Take Me all day.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's a very, very sexy song. I mean, that's literally like come and take me. Take me, baby.
I mean,
Take me. This is the first of 3 times we'll be talking about Al Green on the 500. His
Listen.
I'm Still in Love with You album comes up in 4 weeks at 286. His greatest hits came in at 52. It's insane that, like, I don't know. I hate when they put greatest hits on this list. On the 2020 re-rank, this album dropped 137 spots to 427, and his greatest hits plummeted to 404 spots to 456. I'm Still With You, I'm Still in Love with You, didn't also made the 2020 rank at 306. It dropped 20 spots.
Explain myself.
Yeah, dude.
Like
I do.
like I
do.
To let me know when I look in your eyes.
God damn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's sexy. All right. What would be your elevator pitch to get people to listen to this record, Luenell? Close this out with that. Elevator pitch.
I would do what I just played. I'm Still in Love with You.
Just play that.
That's the elevator song to be like, oh, who's this? I like this song. Yeah.
I think you got. I think the easiest way to say something to get someone to listen to an Al Green record, in my opinion, would be like, you'd be like, do you want to hear music that the only emotion that you feel listening to this is about love? Everything's about love. It's nothing other. There's no shit talking, at least on this record. It is
no
is
bling,
all
no bitches.
it's respect of your partner, respect of love. Every Al Green record is a perfect relationship.
It makes you want to hug somebody.
Exactly. I wish I could be there. I wish I could be in LA right now to hug you, because it's like so cool to see you.
I'm gonna hug you real tight when I see you too, no matter how big your dick is.
Okay, girl. I'm gonna stretch it out for your ass. What promote away, darling. Promote away. Anything you want to promote, please go ahead.
Okay, well, just once again, everybody know that I'm on this podcast with my dear friend, and I really appreciate you having me on. You know, I didn't put 2 and 2 together till I seen you. I'm like, that's my motherfucker. And if you're ever in Vegas on a 3-day weekend, you know, on Sunday nights at 9:30, you can check me out at the Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club and the Link Promenade. I don't know when this is gonna air, but this Sunday I'll be on television on Celebrity Wheel.
Nice. You already shot it? You already shot it?
I already shot it.
What's Pat like?
Pat was funny. When you watch it, this will be unlike any other Wheel of Fortune you've seen. I promise you.
I don't doubt it.
I'm so short, I had to damn near climb up on the thing to spin that fucking wheel is heavy.
I bet, yeah.
And then me and Vanna are good friends now.
Oh.
And so there's that. And I, you know, you can always check me out in this great comedy documentary about the Comedy Store and about the Black comics at the Comedy Store called Fat Tuesday on Amazon Prime. PHAT, not FAT. PHAT, Fat Tuesday on Amazon Prime. And then just look for me on season 3 of Hacks with Gene Smart.
Go see Luenell, everybody. She is a force on stage, and you're just such a lovely individual. I'm so happy you joined me today to do this. I really mean it. It's great to see you, and I can't wait to see you when I'm in Vegas.
Absolutely, if not before, okay?
But yeah.